pick up your palette knife and then work that into your meat. Give your meat a good old rub. That's it. Nice and hot. Hot and spicy meat. Yeah, boy.
Oh, sweet, succulent proto-chicken. Oh, God, yeah, fuck. Sorry about that. Today, we're going to be going over how to combine everything that we've learned together in order to make it more modular. Fuck it. I talk too much and we're just going to get straight into it. So what I'm going to be showing you is learning how to do things externally. But before we can do that, we need to do a little bit more tweaking to the box. So for the box, we have the space. We need to move the space into the box. Next, we're going to take the dynamic variable slot that actually references the box and put it in DVs. We need to then grab DVs and flux and put them both under box, and then we can just delete space. The next thing that we want to do is we need to actually rename the space as well as all the names for the spaces that we have now before we add too much later. So we'll go here to the box, scroll all the way down until we find the dynamic variable space. And here I'm now just going to call this box_A. You can name it to pretty much whatever you want at this point, whatever you feel like would be comfortable for you. But I'm going to continue on with box A. I will then come to the DVs and I will also change from example over to box_A. And I will do the same here for the box. I will just call it box_A. I'll also call the box_A as well, just so that it is getting a reference to the box up here, which I am also yet again gonna name box A, but not with the underscore, just because this is a slot. We can name this whatever we want. It doesn't matter. This is a literal name, right? So it's a string that is providing a name to this slot, but the other one, it's a directory, right? So we want to treat it as such. The last thing that we need to do is also change it in the code as well. It's just so that we can prepare to have two boxes instead of just the one. Modularity. So we're going to open up the user toggle flux, and we're going to change this and this to box A user and box A. Make sure that you give the reference of box A into the reference field on here, or else it won't write anything to box A user. So again, just grab box A and put it down here in box A. And then once we click the box, boom, it writes the user, and that's all fixed. One last thing before I forget, we want to make sure that this dynamic impulse trigger is actually coming from the target hierarchy of box A, not root slot. The reason why is because it has a home now. So we can go ahead and pack this now. The next thing that we're going to want to do is to actually duplicate this box and then rename everything from box A to box B respectively. So we will duplicate the box. The original box is the box that you were already holding. So put it to the side for now. And then we can take this box, open it up, and just change all the values real quick. Just take a minute, pause the video, and then change all of the stuff that you would need to. Meanwhile, I'm going to skip ahead and just do everything. Now that that's done, what we need to do is do another dynamic reference variable of type slot in our DVs slot on the component side. So first I'll come here to box A, go to DVs, and since we already have a dynamic reference variable of type slot right here, we can just duplicate it. And instead of box A as the name, we will call it box B. We want to keep box A in the space here because all of this is still under box A space. This is its territory. So for now, we're going to leave this null. So we null it out with the null button over here, but it will be called box A/box B. We'll do the same for the other box in reverse. Again, come here, duplicate box A because this is box B's space. So now that we have both of the boxes, we can see here that their references are null. We need to fill these in, but we need to do it in a modular way. The best way for us to be able to do that is by using find child by name. So in the ProtoFlux browser right here, we will just type in find child, and we can see here there's find child by name, which is under slots and searching. So find child by name is a pretty straightforward node. It finds a child of something by its name. So if we come out here, we pull out the display, we can see that we can type this in. We need to also give it what it's looking under. The match substring substring button. It's like the autocorrect on your phone where it tries completing something and assumes that that's what you're looking for. No, we want to turn that fucking shit off because we're looking for specifically box B. If it just fills it in, it's going to look for box A. Oh my God. Ignore case is quite literally what it says. It ignores whether it's upper or lowercase. Search depth. This is a pretty important one. What search depth is by default it is 0. So it just looks for the child that is underneath the slot that we give it. So EVs and flux, that is a search depth of 0. User toggle flux is under flux, so is receiver flux, and that's a search depth of 1. This is of 2, and so on and so forth. What we want to do is look for it infinitely. So we type in -1 here, and then it will infinitely look until it finds the child by its name. Since we're looking on box A and getting a reference to box B, we would just type in box B. So I typed in box B here. Now I need to give it what it's looking under, root slot. And holy shit, that's box B. Wow. Now, how do we get this to be written onto box A's reference to box B? Well, this is where we're going to get into fire on nodes. Oops. Just as an example to show you how these work, fire on... Hold on, what? Okay, so fire on true will fire on true, fire on false fires on false, and fire on change will fire on both. And if I turn it to true, by golly, that's true, change it to false, holy fucking shit. Fire on change can do fire on either true or false, it doesn't matter. It's a special node because it can also take in changes to things, i.e. references. And what is a slot? It's a reference. So this is the one that we're actually going to be using. Some people might get upset and say, oh, why aren't you doing it like slot name and see if the name equals a string, blah, blah, blah. There's too many nodes. Plus, find child by name already does that with the match substring. It's checking to see if something matches that name exactly. We find the child by name, plug it into the fire on change, and we can see if I go into the string input here and I go from box to box B, it will fire. And we can see what it's firing and why it's firing by looking here. Boom. The only issue now is that this fire on change is going to fire for every single user. So we need to make it only fire for one. Well, we made an entire user toggle flux that inputs a local user who is fired on it. So what can we do with that? Dynamic variable input, of course, right here. I know exactly what this name is on the box as well. So I know it's on box A, and I know that it is /user. So this will just automatically do the thing. Ooga booga wizard magic. So now this will only fire for me because I'm the user that clicked on the box. Now that it fires on change, we need to get it to write to that value. So we get a what? That's right. A fucking, but you're wrong because you didn't say it. A write dynamic node of type what? Wrong. What type? We go to write and we look up write dynamic object variable under variables and dynamic. Again, slot, click slot, want it out, bam, look at that, too easy. So this is just a check, right? So this will fire each time that this checks, and then we can just have this write the value directly into it. Give it the path, which is on box A, it is box A. I had the wrong one. Box A / box B, and we need a target hierarchy. So, what do we do again? A dynamic variable input. Wow. And we do box A, and we plug it into the target hierarchy, and bam. So let's quickly go over what this is saying. We're looking for the child of root slot by the name of box B exactly for infinity and beyond. Then it comes up here and it will check to see if this value changes, only firing for the user. Once it fires, it will write this value to this path that is on box A. And that's how you read all of this. And now we just pack it, and then we can pull it out and check. So we grab the box, put it underneath the flux, go here to flux and name this to, I don't know, we could just call it ref flux. So we'll call it ref flux for references. This is where you can start adding any references that you want. So now you can have this piece of flux and it will carry any references that you want your box A to know of. So it could be box B, it could be box C, D, E, whatever else you want. It doesn't matter. So we grab ref flux, we select all of our flux over here, and then we just hit pack into. We pull it back out. That's what she said. So now all of this is set up. We can do one more thing, which is on loaded. When the object itself is loaded in, it will automatically fire a pulse. Another thing that we can do as well is not just fire on change, but we could also do the dynamic impulse trigger that we also have. So if you click the box, it'll fire a dynamic impulse into the right dynamic string over here. So this is where we get to use that receiver. You can either grab the receiver that currently is packed underneath it or just do a new one. Personally, I just think it's faster to do a new one. I'll just delete the other one. So I grab a dynamic impulse receiver, which is under flow. I give it the tag of example because I think that's what it was the last time that we made it, was called example. I'll probably just change the names later. So now if we pack it, we plug it in here, the dynamic impulse receiver into the right dynamic. This will also fire if this value changes whatsoever. So now we can pack this and we can check one more time to see if it changes. So now if we click on the box, not only will it write the user, but it now will also write box A, box B's reference. And see, there you go. It wrote both. So you can do this for both boxes. And then you can use those references for each other inside of your code, because now you have the dynamic reference variables to be able to do that. And this is a very simple setup. Now, this can communicate externally as well. Next time, what we're going to be getting into is when each box has its own system, but they don't share the exact same values or references. Yeah, anyways, we'll do it for the next video. I'm super excited. Just build your systems out as you go and do something fun with your boxes. Anyways, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.